My name is Posire Marupe and I was told to come to this class.
No wonder. You know, some of us pay our own school fees. We do not have the so-called daddies to pay for us.
Can you imagine me and Will Smith are literally buddies? Sorry, Jada.
How would you like if I pay your fee alias?
Kilanzwin, that is not enough even for dowry.
You concentrate. Who is paying your dowry?
Yes. Hapa nyuma mkae na huyu mama.
Umesema nini? Nimekuchagia mtori ama umesema ina nyama.
Unanipurupia nini?
Hebu ongea bila kulia.
Mheshimiwa, angalia tena nimesahau mahali nafaa kwenda.
Madhalo ni wewe kuniangalia mimi. Mzitana mndongo.
Wewe hata ni ile maitwa generation boom.
Mandasi inatoka England, Crystal Palace. Inakuja kama inawaka mosi na bovu nitune
Mama tutakula tano. Sasa niruhusu nipigie nduru hapa.
Enda ukipiga nduru hivi.
I am in love.
What?
You are so deep.
My name is Posire Marupe and I was told to come to this class.
No wonder. You know, some of us pay our own school fees. We do not have the so-called daddies to pay for us.
Can you imagine me and Will Smith are literally buddies? Sorry, Jada.
How would you like if I pay your fee alias?
Kilanzwin, that is not enough even for dowry.
You concentrate. Who is paying your dowry?
Yes. Hapa nyuma mkae na huyu mama.
Umesema nini? Nimekuchagia mtori ama umesema ina nyama.
Unanipurupia nini?
Hebu ongea bila kulia.
Mheshimiwa, angalia tena nimesahau mahali nafaa kwenda.
Madhalo ni wewe kuniangalia mimi. Mzitana mndongo.
Wewe hata ni ile maitwa generation boom.
Mandasi inatoka England, Crystal Palace. Inakuja kama inawaka mosi na bovu nitune
Mama tutakula tano. Sasa niruhusu nipigie nduru hapa.
Enda ukipiga nduru hivi.
A very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the last day of September 2024 and yes, a lot of conversations going on. There is obviously what's happening in the political scene. Everyone's talking about the motion that's to be presented in the National Assembly tomorrow, and so that's part of it. But also in our news, what are we going to be looking at is that the Kenya Wildlife Service is going to be unveiling a strategic plan focused on boosting Kenya's wildlife economy and also augmenting conservation of the nation's biodiversity. That is just one of the stories that we are keeping tabs on. And also happening right now, the Ministry of Health is holding a media sensitization briefing on the upcoming emergency polio vaccination campaign in 9 high-risk areas. That's part of what we're going to be taking a look at. Then there is the draft government investment regulations and their public participation notices by the National Treasury and economic planning, so we're going to be keeping up with that too. And also the National Assembly's Departmental Committee on Health is going to be meeting the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Health, the Principal Secretary of Medical Services and top officials of the Social Health Authority to discuss the rollout of the Social Health Insurance Fund. And this is because SHA and SHIF are supposed to get into effective tomorrow. So part of the stories that we're going to be taking a look at, and remember that all of this is being covered by our team, which is out there, and we're going to be keeping tabs on it. From the sporting scene, we know that there is a pro boxing night tomorrow in Nairobi. The weigh-in and the face-offs are all going to be happening today, and a briefing on that. And also happening also today is Kenya and Korea celebrating 60 years of diplomatic relations. So that is part of what's going to be happening, a story that we are going to be looking at. Well, and on Sports Check today, the conversations will all be about two wheels. Those with engines and those that are powered by the feet of those who ride them. And we are going to start with a conversation about Superbike. The third series of the Slick Superbike series in Kenya is going to be taking place next weekend, specifically on Sunday in Athi River. And that's why you can see that I've got part of the safety gear that they've got here. It's a helmet that we have got, and so we're going to be getting details of that. Plus also they've got the gloves and part of the safety gear that is in here. But we'd like to start this program on a noisy note. So sign language interpreter Lensa Odingo. Well, we're going to learn about this because in studio with me at the moment is a person who opted to go by the name of Edu the Chef. Why the name the Chef?
I'm a chef professionally. Yeah, so I do cook.
So you do cook?
Yeah.
But you also make sure that, okay, so you use oil when cooking, petroleum, but you also a petrol head when it comes to two wheels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we'll be getting to that. So Edu is here, but also we've got Ken Kaveke, and he's going to usher in Sports Check this morning with a few rumbles from his engine. Ken, welcome to the studio. All right. Wow. So one of the super bikes that we've got here. And Ken, always pleasure to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm just taking a look at this and I'm seeing 1299.
Yeah, that is a 1300cc bike.
That's a street car, everyday street car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just give us, just a quick brief of this,
So this is a 2017 Ducati, 1299, basically 1300 cc's, 2 pistons, and a top speed of around 300, but I'm not sure whether NTSA are... Yeah.
No, 300 kph will blow every speed gun that we've got in the country. And so quite interesting. And let me start with you here. As we talk about this, over 10 years of developing this, we know a lot of people who own this kind of motorcycles. We knew that they belonged to the president's escort. That's why everyone would know about them. There would be a few people of here and there who would be interested in owning this. But over the last 14 years, we've seen a huge interest in this, high performance motorcycles. Just give us what's the growth has been over the last 10 years.
Yeah, over the years, actually, the community has really grown. We started, racing started way back in 2013. And most people have come to get inspired into getting bikes in terms of convenience. There are people who actually ride bikes because of traffic jams. There are people who are passionate about racing. So it's one thing that is most convenient to use and also stylish at the same time to use during errands, your own errands, going to work and back home.
Well, just taking a look at this, we can see that we see those we see on the streets, and they would have the two cases on the side or one right at the rear. But adapting to this, because for a very long time Kenya has had a good motocross culture, that is dirt racing.
Yes.
What was it, transitioning, from dirt racing and now to tarmac racing, which is what these motorcycles are built for, and getting places to do so?
So basically, the motocross still operates very well. It's actually it's big by its own self, but now we are trying to make the sport kind of culture to be even more known, more recognized locally and abroad. So that's one of our targets that we are doing, because there are different types of motorcycles. You have adventure, which have the boxes and all that. You can do long distance. They are more comfortable when doing those long distances. But again, we have the sport bike. You can do, it's quicker, shorter time to get from point A to B. But So that's what we are focusing on. So in terms of adventure, it's still growing. In terms of motocross, it is still also growing and getting new guys doing motocross. Even some of our racers actually do participate on the motocross side. So it's a sport people are really bringing up, and it's coming up well.
Well, Ken, let me come to you. Just give us your backstory getting into two-wheel racing and what drew you to it as tarmac racing as compared to dirt racing, which is what most people associate the sport with in the country.
For me, actually, my dad used to ride, so that's where I got the inspiration for riding. And also for me, I do both sports actually. I do both tarmac and also do off-road racing. So, but
actually, there is one I haven't mentioned, enduro. So
yeah,
which one?
I do enduro.
Okay.
Yeah, I do enduro and I do also tarmac racing. It's like a sprint and a marathon. They are both Olympics, but different techniques, and yeah.
So just give us, background into enduro, because one of the things about enduro is it is physically demanding because of the terrain.
Yeah, very.
And you've got actually, half the time I watch enduro, you're actually not seated on the bike.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I usually say enduro is 80% fitness, 20% skill. And actually, 2 weeks ago, there was one at Lukenya. And just to give you a short story to emphasize on the fitness. Yeah. There's a guy, we are racing, I think we have done the second lap, and I find a guy on the side of the road, and he's telling me, please call for me an air ambulance. And we're in the middle of the forest. Yeah, just because he was bloody exhausted. Yeah.
Well, colorful language.
Oh.
Anyway, oops. Well, we know what FIA is doing with with Max Verstappen and all the drivers. But anyway, I'm not part of the FIA. So the fitness that you have, from enduro, just take us through that and how you are able to transfer it now to tarmac racing.
Actually, I don't do a lot of any specialized training. What I do is bicycle. I ride bicycle twice a week, at least 1 hour, just to make sure your legs, your legs are everything in motorbike racing, both on-road and off-road. So if your legs and lungs are out of shape, then it's like you've already lost, because by the time you're getting to half distance, you are tired. Yeah, so I don't have a really specialized training, but as long as you can do something cardio in the sides of cardio, yeah, you should be good.
Keeping your focus, looking at the wilder terrain that enduro provides, and what you'd say is the wind and the close racing that you do with this. How do you develop that?
Looking at,
how to keep focus, keeping your eyes on the track.
Yeah.
Whether it's off-road or on tarmac racing.
Oh, okay. About that, when you are racing, you should not have anything in your mind. For that, either it is a 30-minute race or a 40-minute race, there is nothing should be in your mind. Because if you lose, if let's say you are doing 200 and you just look, you'll be in the bush. So when you are racing, there's no time to think about anything. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this now. Edu, let me come in to you, because also, besides this, we'll be bringing in one lady competitor, Samia Almeida, later, and also we shall also be having Lexus Musa. Now, getting to organize this, because what we've watched on TV over the years is high-level competitions that take place mainly in, we know that it is a case of Europe and Asia. That's where, this kind of sport is. Yeah. What were the developments that were put into place to ensure that you've got great tarmac racing? First of all, getting a venue for a start.
Yeah, getting a venue hasn't been easy for us over the years. We're working with what we have. It's not enough for the kind of bikes that like this one, because we race at Whistling Moran. It's actually a small, it's a 1.23, they're 1.3 kilometer. But if you see the ones that are in Asia and other places are between 3.5 to 4.5 kilometer tracks, where you can actually use this bike to its capability. But currently we are using that, and it's very exciting, very competitive, challenging also, because the corners are close to each other, so you really know how to handle that bike into those corners, and also take out by taking out is, I mean, overtake them and get yourself to the podium. So it's not easy, it's really challenging, but we are working on that. And also during events we take so many measures. When we are looking at racers, we look at their gears. They have to wear leather, full leather, either 2-piece or 1-piece, and a helmet, a certified helmet, gloves, boots. And also that is part of the safety of the racer. If you go to the bike, we have people who are doing scrutineering. They have to check if the bike has any oil leaks, if the tires are in good condition, the brakes are perfectly put, okay? And they're in good condition too, meaning you can stop, and also the bike can handle throughout the track. On the other side is the safety of the spectators, okay? So the safety of the spectators, we always have marshals with radios to all see that the track is always clear, no gravel, no oil leaks on the track. And also in case, because these are things that do happen, in case a racer goes down, he can be assisted. So, and also we always have 2 ambulances on standby, so that in case they are needed. Most of the time we don't use them. The events go well, but in case it happens, at least people can get support, either with spectators, which they're always far away from the track. So an ambulance is always there on standby to make sure racers, marshals, anyone on that event is actually covered.
Okay, well, let's talk about the safety gear. First of all, you've mentioned about the leather, and it's either 1-piece or 2-piece, which means it looks more like the overalls, full leather overall, or you could have a jacket and the trousers. And
a pant, yes.
So now the other things that we see is what you put around your elbows to protect that, shoulders.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the upper body protection first.
Yeah, so for a jacket, for a proper jacket that is certified, approved, you have your jacket, which covers here. You have padding here all the way to your elbow, okay? That is already incorporated in the armor, is already inside the jacket. So you have that, you have shoulder protection. So most of the time, all joints of the body is where the weak point is. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, yeah. You mentioned to me that you're a bit unwell, so
yeah. So you're gonna bear with me. So you have that, and also you have a hump and back protection. The hump actually assists you if you go down, it protects the spine. Yeah. So that is the jacket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the gloves, because now they cover the jacket, and you do that.
Yes.
So just take us through these 2 sets of gloves and the kind of and the difference.
Oh, okay. So gloves, you always have the knuckles, okay, which that's also a weak point in case you go down. You have also these joints between your fingers, okay, but it has to be movable, because you need your arm free to just brake or accelerate or clutch in and all sort of stuff. You have protection for your palm here, so you have padding, and also, as you can see, they're long gloves, so they go over the jacket, so also to protect you from the wind and the cold.
So this is basically the same. I think what I can see here is only the thumb that's different, because it's always protected, but you've got all of this protection. So this is a more carbon fiber or plastic protection.
Yes. Yeah, and you also have, so different types of gloves they slightly differ depending on the manufacturer, but they all do the same purpose. So, but there are also different types of gloves. You have racing gloves, you have short gloves, you have adventure gloves. The ones for motocross are also different from what we have on the superbikes.
Okay. Now here is the person who does a lot of that and everything. Just tell us how different the gloves would be. for anyone who want to get into two-wheel competition?
Okay. For motocross or enduro, because there's a lot of heat, the riding gear is usually more on the light side. Now instead of leather, we have just normal cotton with some padding, but not something which can make you breathe as much as, because you're already sweating, because you see with off-road the speeds are not high as speed bikes. And some, especially like enduro, there are some places you are doing 1 kilometer in 20 minutes because of how difficult it is. So the gloves are very light, and also the whole riding gear is on the lighter side. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the most important thing that everyone talks about and every time you ride is this, the helmet. And, you know, just you can see that your helmet has got a GoPro with it.
Yeah.
But just, you know, take us through this helmet and what's inside of it, because we can see that there is heavy padding and how different it is from the everyday helmets that we do use on the street.
Yeah. So in terms of this and the yellow ones you will see with the border borders, the difference is, first of all, these ones are certified. Like if you look, they usually have there's a certification. You'll see a sticker, but mine is very old.
Okay, so this one right here is what they would call the certification that we've got.
Yeah.
So you can see that it's been given ECE. It's
22.
ECE 22.
Yeah.
Actually, 2205.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, May?
That means even if it is like a rule, it's like a KBC thing for helmets, to make sure even if you crash at 300, nothing will happen to your head, because you know the head, if you crash, that is it. And so the padding, you have the padding to make sure in case you get an accident, and first of all, the helmet should fit you. It should not move around, because in case you crash, it will add more damage to you than, so it should be tight. And also the padding to protect you from the wind. Yeah, and also the price. So like a border helmet you can get for around 500. If you're looking for a good helmet, a certified helmet, you are looking at 15,000 and above. So yeah.
Now let's talk about the visors that are here. And this one here, we can see that it's a little bit tapered at the front, and yours is more round. Looks like the old Formula 1 helmets.
Yeah. Now that comes down to manufacturers. Yeah, like the way you can find some shoes look differently, but they
sharpshooter,
boots,
sandals,
yeah. But the most important is for this to lock here, so that there's no wind coming in. And also most helmets nowadays have double visors, so in case you are riding in the sun, it has this like sunglasses, so that your eyes aren't, like if you are riding in the afternoon, your eyes aren't affected by the sun, so you can just ride as you want. Okay. Yeah.
So, unafanya magic, where is the but?
Oh, it is here.
Okay.
Yeah, you just press. Yeah.
So that gives you sun protection. And all of that.
Yeah.
You're part of those people, you know, who keeps checking all of this. It's got extra equipment there. That little camera at the front, the GoPro.
Yeah.
Just how do you then ensure that this does not interfere with the safety of your competitors?
Yeah, so there are different places you can actually place your GoPro. Okay. So there are straps that you can actually wear on your chest and put it there, but those straps are not supposed. Your GoPro shouldn't go directly to your chest. They have some sort of padding to actually, in case there's something that presses, it doesn't interfere with anything. And also you have already chest protection on your jacket. You have this front. I also use mine at the front here, just to.
So this is yours.
Yeah.
Yes, you can actually display to us.
Yeah. So mine also, I actually put it still in the front there. So because of the wind. But there are some bikes that are actually, let's say like cruisers, they like placing it at the top of the helmet. So if it's here, how this thing operates is that in case you crash, actually most of the time your GoPro is easy. If it gets impact, it just leaves your helmet so that it does not become a hazard to you. Yeah, so the mountings are not permanently there. So it's easy to, they're actually plastic, they can actually break on just one impact. On impact, yes.
So that is the upper body protection, and that includes what you've said, covers the spine and that. Now let's take a look at lower body protection. When it comes to the trousers, and whenever we see you ride and you're taking the corners, you tend to bend down, almost, the knee almost coming into contact with the racing track and getting back up. Just take us through that gear.
Yeah, so the lower body you have pants. We haven't worn right now, just but it's during racing you have to have it. It has knee guards and it's got sliders. So your knee protection is there to when you fall. The sliders is what touches the tarmac in case you go low to do a knee down when taking a corner in the fast, because that's the easiest way to take a corner actually on high speed. How the bike handles, you use traction, you counter steer from the front and use your traction from the back. Okay, in simple English.
Okay, so I'm so into rallying, and what I know is that when the drivers want to go to the right, they'll use the handbrake and tend to
turn to the left.
Turn to the left so that the car slides.
Yeah.
Now, okay.
With the bike, now I don't know whether someone can zoom on the tires. What you'll notice is
actually, okay, we can actually come to that. Let's just hold that thought so that you can finish on the protection. So you've got the sliders.
Yes. You have the sliders. Okay, the pant itself is leather. Okay, so some of them are cowhide and some of them are kangaroo. Kangaroo is the top, it's best, but again also its prices is quite high, but it's the best kind of gear that you can wear. So you have your knee protection and you have your sliders. So those are the part, and part of your behind also has padding, and also in between the waist, the hips, you also have padding just in case you slide on the side. You have padding on your knee just to protect your thighs.
Oh, very well. Well, Brian, I know at this point, I've got Ken here. Ken, you've got your boots on?
Yeah, yes.
Actually, Edu the chef has got his.
Yes.
Okay. So let's come in here so that we can get an explanation about the boots. And also at the same time, Lexus, Musa, and Samia Almeida, they're getting ready. They will be joining us so that they can tell us all about this. So let's now talk about Ken.
Yeah.
You wanted to mention about these wheels that you've got.
Yeah, the reason why actually these bikes you have to, like if you're seeing racing on the TV, you'll see the riders have to, like, it is like swing in the corner. Yeah, most people don't understand, but it is because of the way the tires are designed. If you look at this tire, it is like in a V. Yeah. So when you get to the corner, because it is not flat, you have to lean the bike. Yeah, that's the reason.
So that is it.
Yeah.
And maybe Edu the chef, would like you to come in so that you explain all about the boots and how the safety works for them, because we can see that to the left, unaweza kanyanga tu. So that people can see this. We can see that you've got this and this on the shin and down on the little toes.
Yeah. So the boots are also leather. You have the shin protection. Okay. You also have the protection from the side here. You have your ankle also protected. You have your toes protected. And also you have this kind of protection here to just also when shifting, it doesn't spoil your boot. So it also acts as protection for your toe.
So you've got the ribs it's ribbed so that...
Yeah, at least when shifting up and down, at least you have good. And also you see the boot is long, so when you wear the pants go inside. That's why you have this space, so that the pants with the protection for the pants will go into. So from from your ankle all the way to up your thigh, you have full protection because of that joint.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's do some scrutineering. You mentioned about scrutineering and you said that there are things you check.
Yeah.
So from this side, first of all, the wheels, what do you check?
Yeah, so we check.
If this was my car, I would be the traffic police officer would be on my case when I say inafanana na ulimi.
Yes, of course, yeah. Actually, we get that a lot. But so with the tire like this, this is actually a soft tire. It's a Diablo Supercorsa.
Okay, Diablo.
Yeah. It's actually very sticky. It heats up real quick, and that's what we use. We actually have tire warmers, which we put before you start racing. You warm your tires so that rubber, you know, when rubber heats up, it becomes softer.
So that's equivalent to a blanket that's put onto it.
Yeah, like a heated blanket that is put onto it, an electric one that actually heats your tires so that rubber becomes soft. When it becomes soft, it becomes sticky. So if you check the threads, we can actually see these ones are even not barely used. They're like around 80%. Okay, 80%. They have 80% life. So, and they're always very soft. So if they heat up, you can actually do a knee down proper on this one. But there are different types of tires. There are people we can't let into the track because they have road tires and they're hard. So road tires are used for commuting and all sort of stuff.
So ideally they checked grooves.
Yeah, we check the grooves and also the condition of the tire, also the expiry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is the first thing that you do. You can do it from this side, because that's where the cameras are. Checking for oil leaks.
Yeah, so we check for oil leaks. So most oil leaks, of course, if the engine is leaking either from the top or bottom, you will actually see. So you just go inside and just see if there is any oil leak. If there is no oil leak, you can actually even maybe start the bike, see if it's dripping anything. So if it does, that is a bike that cannot go on track because now you'll be making the track slippery for other racers.
Suspension safety.
Yeah. So for the suspension, depends on how the racer wants it. They can do it soft or hard. So it's how comfortable they are. Also depends on the weight that they are putting on the bike. So it could be someone small or say tiny and you don't have weight, you can actually adjust to that so that your handling becomes better.
So how do you adjust that? For example, I'm looking at the two of you different weights. We're bringing somebody petite, so how do you adjust that?
So there are a couple of knobs you can see here. It actually has markings there that you can actually adjust to. You have this, and also now depending on your height also, you can adjust from there. You can squeeze in. If you can see here, they have threads where you can actually.
So
you release.
So it stretches the bike out longer depending on your height.
Yeah, depending on your height. So that movement can become easy for you to ride.
What about the shell, such that it is safe for competition?
Yeah, so we check the fairings. We call them fairings. This is the body now. These are the plastics are fairings. So we check if they're actually loose, so that if you're going at high speed, it doesn't fly off and hits another racer. We just check every bolt and nut is in place, and actually there is no movement. Yeah, so that is how you check.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's missing. So this nut, you've got to fix all of this for competition now.
Yeah. If I was racing with this bike, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is 1300, Edu.
Yes.
So just give us, the various classes that you have, because different people ride with different capacity bikes. This is 1300 cc.
Yes. So we have 150, we have 250, we have 600, we have 1,000. So this will fall under the 1,000 category.
So this is open for all those with
only so at this category you will get 1,000. Whether it's a Honda, it's a Kawasaki, it's a BMW, a Ducati, will all fall into 1,000 cc category. So maybe on a stretch this might have more advantage because of the 300 cc on top. compared to someone else. But again, also it depends on the skill. So you might have someone maybe on this one, but another one who's better on a smaller bike. So,
well, the interesting thing here, so just tell us how you manage this at this level. I mean, 1300cc is huge, but you mentioned that our tracks are short.
Yeah.
So you don't have huge straights.
Yeah, we don't have huge straights, so there's no advantage having this there. Actually, someone with a slightly smaller bike and power that you can handle is actually in a better position to win, to take you when you are riding this.
All right. So just taking us through what you go through as a rider as you compete. He's done all these checks, making sure that now you're ready to roll.
Yeah, so the first thing you do is first you have to calm down, because there's a lot of like 2 weeks to the race, 1 week, there's a lot of anticipation. So you have to first of all calm down like 10 minutes to the start. Okay, you will get some
adrenaline is there, must be there.
You will get some, but once the flag drops and you get to the first corner, then now the body relaxes and now you can just race as normally.
You've mentioned about 150cc.
Yeah.
Just give us an idea about the low cc, the 150 and the 250s, which is what most people can afford and can start with before you get to something as powerful as this.
Yeah, they're actually nice bikes that you can start with in the market. We always encourage people to actually start there. You might get someone who has just good money and like, oh, I love this bike and I want to buy. So we always don't advise people to actually just jump to a Ducati just because you can afford it. We advise people to start with the smaller cc bikes that you can actually tame that power easily, so that you grow into understanding that power and how to handle it to make sure you survive the longest time. Yeah.
Yeah, because the presence of this, because this is the highest level of it, sound is a bit scary. It looks more like a barrier to entry. But the fact that you've mentioned the 150s and the 250s, what's the scene of the 150s and the 250s?
Actually, on that track, there are the people who enjoy. On that track and that distance and the corners are the people who enjoy the racing. It's actually very competitive because now for them, they can actually max out everything, every power that is there. So for them, it's more competitive there. This one is more of challenging and endurance, because with this, with the weight and all that. So on the 250s and 150s actually do enjoy the track more than those who are on 1000. Yes.
So let's, Ken.
Yeah.
Basically, take us, through some of the operational levels here. This on the right.
Yeah. So on the right we have the throttle. This is what you must tame. This is the throttle, like an accelerator.
Tell him the truth. This you have to make sure you tame your arm.
Yeah. To
survive.
Then we have the front brake. Then we have the clutch.
Excuse me.
Then now with newer bikes from 2015 and above, they have electronics or what we call rider aids. Like this one, for example, has ABS. So in case you add press on the brakes, it will tame it so that you don't go down. It also has something called anti-wheelie. Any bikes above 600, when you give it throttle, the front wheel wants to come up. Yeah. So this one has something called
actually any car. I mean, if you go pick up a car that's 3,400, no, try to lorry ujaribu kutoa na gear 1.
You hear it.
It will basically
to lift. Yes.
Yeah. So this one has something called anti-wheelie. It basically cuts the ignition so that the front wheel can come down. Otherwise, you can flip and crash.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a front brake.
Yeah.
Then?
So these ones are the ones you use to control the electronics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rear brakes.
The rear brake is here.
Is here.
And actually with this one, it has something called a quick shifter. So once you leave where you are, let's say you are in a red light and you leave, you don't need to hold the clutch again to upshift. You just hit this.
It works like the triptonic of a car.
Yeah.
The ones the paddle, it's called the paddle shift.
Paddle shift.
Yes.
Or so basically you only need
The clutch when you are
for
going.
the first gear
Yeah, when
Just-
you're starting, yeah.
When you're starting and when you're coming to stop.
and when you're coming to stop.
Yeah.
Well, very well. And so there you've had it. This is a 1300 cc. It's a super bike. And how many kilometers? For example, at Whistling Front, you do it's 1.3 kilometers,
Yeah.
3/4 of a mile. So
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's actually not just one lap. We do up to 25 laps race 1, 25 laps race 2. So you see with 25, that's over 25 kilometers of just rounds and rounds, corners, bends and all that. Yeah, so it's pretty challenging, but people do it.
So for each of the different divisions, how do you get them to compete then?
Come again?
How do you classify, for example, those who start with the 150s? Those are probably those who would be starting, or may they have the experience but want to, know how to navigate that tricky circuit with the 250s, the 600s, and now to
Yeah, so
these big machines.
So for the race, we always start with the smaller bikes, as we are going to bigger bikes, because now bigger bikes with all the noise, it's more exciting and also very competitive. Seeing that with that small truck, with a big bike, and people actually compete, they overtake, and people compete to get to the podium. So we always start with the 150, then go 250 cc, just depending on the size of the engine, until now we get to the 1000.
Okay, there you go. So you've had it from this. And there is one big story that I would like to put out. I am in Kenya. I am yet to come across a professional motorsports person, somebody who does motorsport for life. Everyone else has a day job.
Yeah.
So Edu, we started with you. You said you want to be known as a chef.
Yes, I'm a chef, but you see, like, I used to do catering for weddings, graduations, and all that. I have my own company that does that. But during COVID, again, we didn't have events. So that slid away. But I had this on the side. So I do actually right now full-time sell bikes, sell gears, boots, and all this stuff. And also at least guide these new guys or aspiring bikers to actually get into biking and also racing. Because the more it's out there, the society actually comes to accept us. Because most people think that we actually get money from this. We don't. It's just passion. It's passion-based. It's for our love for two wheels. But we have, in our groups, we have surgeons who actually race, we have engineers, we have lawyers, we have cops.
Actually, I know the surgeon, Blade Doc.
Yeah, Blade Doc, yes. So we have people from different backgrounds just coming together to share one passion. So right now what we're working on is getting to make sure, I know someone like me, there's no way that I'm gonna participate in MotoGP or SBK, however good I get. You see, my age somehow is a bit, but you see, we have youngins, 5-year-olds that we can actually grow to make sure if we have a good foundation for the sport, then they stand a chance to actually make it a career. And we have so much talent. We have so much talent here in Kenya.
All right, let me come to you, Ken.
Yeah.
Bundu bashing in enduro, the occasional motocross, and now tarmac racing. What's outside? What is it that you do when you're not speeding on bikes?
Actually, my day job is I work at a showroom called Turismo Motors. We sell cars and bikes. Yeah, that's my day job.
So ideally, engines is what you do every day.
Yeah.
Well, so everyone is invited, and including those who are basically, who love competing and have gotten into this. And you always look at the skill level. If I was to use rallying, they would say you start with there is what they would call clubman before you get into the national rally championship.
Yeah. Also with these bikes, we encourage one to start with especially, in fact, the 150cc class, it is very competitive. You cannot believe it. So we encourage someone to start there so that they can learn how to manage a race, where to brake, where to accelerate, so that by the time they are getting to the 600 or 1000s, they won't be an hazard to anyone. Yeah.
More so, people can come on track even if it's not race day. So you just can't wake up in the morning and decide to come participate. You might get frustrated by how you're going to be overlapped.
Yeah.
So
Actually.
yes. You're going to be overlapped and you'll be like, so racing is not for me, you see. But that's not the thing. No one wakes up one day and become a winner or get to receive a trophy. We encourage people to actually, when it's not even race day, just take your time, go to the track. You'll find people most of the time during weekends that are training. You can get some tips there, for the people who are more experienced. They're going to guide you through, so that when it gets to race day, at least you are more prepared, you're more familiar with the track and your bike too.
Okay. So, well, you've had it from them, and we're going to be talking about, how you do that and develop that. We've got Lexus Musa also, and, Samia Almeida, who are here with us. The ladies who are in the sport have picked it up, and Samia is going to speak for them. Yeah. She's going to be their advocate and tell them, look, it's soft. It's not just the thrill that comes with it. Actually, she does not sit here. She sits here and does this.
Yeah.
I mean, every film that we've seen has taught us that they're supposed to be here.
Yes.
All the films say that, they're supposed to be flowing, but here she is. She's going to be telling us, about it and how to encourage women to get into motorsport, and also for Musa to tell us, how he's been, trying to get people to get into this and understand that it is a safe sport, and also, how would I describe it? That there is a certain class around it.
Yeah.
So let's kill that.
Yeah.
So that we can have something. See it happen, and also see how they can get encouraged to do, have some roads closed. We have roads closed for marathons.
Yes.
So see if we can have a circuit here. And just to tell you, something strange happened yesterday. Tuk-tuk racing in Mombasa.
Yeah. That happens. They even do donkey.
Donkey races in Lamu. Donkey races,
yes.
They would say. But yesterday there was tuk-tuk rallying in Mombasa. So how can we make this safe for everyone? We'll be taking a break. Let's just get on to some little bit of FKF Premier League highlights, and then we'll bring in Musa and Samia as they take us through that, women in the sport, and also making sure that people reach out to people and send one message around this: safety.
Yeah, safety. So
Safety.
Yeah, so you need to be very, very safe on these bikes anytime you want to get into biking. Because what I always say is ride to ride another day. So if you enjoy riding, don't enjoy it like it's your last day. Ride today so that you can also enjoy it tomorrow and the day after.
So Musa, the question that I want to ask you can see this morning when coming to work, I saw somebody who was in a t-shirt, no helmet, riding a bike. Is that how you do it on the street? That's part of the safety conversation that you're going to have, even as we talk about the competition. But let's get the football highlights quick.
Nchini Kenya mashabiki tayari wameweza kufika dimbani, ikiwa ni mechi raundi ya 4, mechi nambari 32. KCB ndio timu ya nyumbani wakiwakaribisha tu wanajeshi wa taifa Ulinzi Stars kuweza kuzipigania alama 3 za mchezo siku ya leo, wakiongozana siku ya Maruti, ikiwa wameshinda mechi 2 vijana wa KCB, moja ikaishia sare kwa Ulinzi Stars ambao nao wanajitafuta kweli kweli. Mwalimu Patrick Odhiambo Luowo anakiaminia kikosi chake Francis Kahiro Mwihaki. Wanapata picha ile ya kumbukumbu, picha ya WhatsApp siku ya leo jioni. Wote wanne, set ya wanne wale, kiongoza naye Kelvin Maina ambaye atakuwa mwamuzi, wakati Adam Juma mwamuzi msaidizi wa kwanza. 32 upande wa wanajeshi, Danstan Don Nyaudo 4-3-3, mabadiliko mawili tu kiwa amepumzika siku ya Venrix Omondi kiwa afande huyo amefuzu hivi. Luowo kiwa naiongoza KCB kwa mara ya kwanza, na pambaja kule pande wa pili ni Danstan Don Nyaudo ambaye ana umri wa miaka 54 kwa naiongoza kwa mara nyingine tena Ulinzi Stars mashindano yale ya kufuzu AFCON mwaka 2025, na kwa kipenga chake mwamuzi wakati Kelvin Maina taona wanabadilishana. Tutelena Ochieng cheza kwa kicha Morris Owino Father, na ipiga moja kwa moja unapapa kule juu, ni Ibrahim
alishtukiza tu. Ibrahim Shambi alipiga uzuri kweli kweli Boniface Mushiri akiendea nia post, lakini Faruk Shikalo alikuwa ange zaidi na umekaa kwenye mkoba. Alileta uzuri Patrick, akawa mkarimu zaidi kumwandalia Kevin Okumu chumzi. Alipiga uzuri zaidi Francis Kairu, ulimshtukiza
Pato. Tache kwanza imekubali Joshua Nyatini, Kevin Okumu chumzi. Oh!
Alileta uzuri Patrick, akawa
wapambanaji hawa James Kinyanjui Kinyash, Patrick Otieno Pato. Tache kwanza imekubali Joshua Nyatini, Kevin Okumu chumzi. Oh! Kuna jichanganya tu, nani ataondosha, nani atacheza. Amemegea uzuri Francis Kahiro, amechan Francis Kahiro.
Alitana uzuri kweli kweli Francis Kahiro katikati ya mabeki wa Ulinzi Stars, lakini good goalkeeping kutoka kwa Sylvain Rickson Mondi. Alishat kabisa nia post yake, akakisha kuwa ameiziba kabisa.
Mambo wa awali ama taicheza far post. James Kinyanjui chini kwa chini kule, cheza kichwa Dennis Koyo Maruti, control imekataa. Chini kwa chini Farajo Minde, Francis Kahiro. Daktari wa magoli Francis Kahiro. Goli Francis Kahiro. Kichwa chini mwalimu Danston John Nyaudo. Imefikaje mpaka kwa mkubali na kumpa nafasi Francis? Jinsi kasisi ajuavyo kurasa zile za Biblia. Ililetwa uzuri, akaukosa Dennis Koyo Maruti, ikamiminwa tena na Farajo Minde, akapewa nafasi na muda Francis Roro Kahiro. What a chance kwa top striker Francis Kahiro, utulivu mkubwa ndani ya box na anaishia tu kupasi katika nyavu zile kwa shangwe kubwa. Francis yupo, ndio cross nzuri ile yake James Kinyanjui, akaunganisha Farajo Minde, utulivu mkubwa wake FKF. Talent tupo Telena Ochieng, chini kwa chini kule bado na ondosha tatabu.
Kona ililetwa uzuri, wakienda chini wachezaji wawili wa Ulinzi Stars, kini Maurice Ojwang Owino Father alikuwa wa kwanza kuweza kuondoa mpira ule. Alikwenda chini Mushiri,
Danson Chetambe na Masaka. Dante anza naye Danson Kiprono, somo wake amekaa, inaishia kwenye mikono yake kipa yule Silva.
Ni mzuri, footwork yake ni nzuri. Ibrahim Shambi alikwenda alipotaka Kiprono, lakini
execution iliyopita anakataa Brian Ochieng, na mguso wake Brian Ochieng ndio wa mwisho kabisa kutoka kwake mwamuzi wakati huku, na akipiga kwa ishara ile ya msalaba. Amepambana kweli kweli na kuhakikisha kuwa kipa yule Faruk Shikalo na baki na clean sheet. Anatabasamu kocha wa viungo Eric Kanto Muranda, mwalimu msaidizi Jefferson Dongo, Ibrahim Jembe la Majembe Shambi amepambana, lakini wapi. Ni Jumamosi njema kabisa ya tarehe 28, ikiwa nafuatana unyo utadhani wanamgambo wale, lakini watakuwa na tabasamu ya mwisho, kitabasamu tu kwa ishara ya fair play ile. Humphrey Ochieng na Sofapaka ambao wanapiga mechi yao ya 4 siku ya leo. Masha Simiu mwamuzi, wakati siku ya leo ni Josephine Wanjiku. Ni ile ya waamuzi itakuwa inafanya kazi kubwa siku ya leo. Upande wa mwalimu Ken ya kwanza kabisa dhidi ya Mathare United, mwalimu Robert Matano atakuwa anaiongoza pia kwa mara nyingine tena. Alikuwepo Bandari, pia yupo Ange, na kwa firimbi yake mwamuzi wakati Josephine Wanjiku, nikiashiria tosha kuwa tupo mubashara kutoka jimba la Kenyatta, kaunti ya Machakos, ligi kuu nchini Kenya, raundi ya 4, ikiwa ni mechi ya mapema kabisa. Wapo nyumbani. Ketusha anatoa maelekezi tu, mchanganuzi wa video kwa upande wa FC Leopards Josh Angatia amepiga Simba ambao wanacheza kwa mara ya kwanza ndani ya ligi kuu nchini Kenya. Nao sasa Shasiri na Himana pembeni kule, Alvin Ngoto tachia kwanza nzuri, Alvin Ngoto, lakini imejaa kwa uzuri na kipa yule Brandon Nathan Obiero. Kwa alikuwa anaitafuta tekniki nzuri. Bayo ametafutwa uzuri. Beja Nyamawi kwa nafasi tukizi. Beja Nyamawi, Mohamed najiamini sana na awamu ile ya kwanza. Build up yao ni vijana wa Al Banjar. Imecheza kwake William Wadre, anao sasa tari ile Benjamin Nyamawi. Oh yes, Benjamin Nyamawi, mzee wa Zegede, ana complicate na kuwapika kula wao wazee wa Zegede. Sasa ana complicate mambo zaidi Benjamin Nyamawi. Build up yao ni vijana wa Al Banjar. Imecheza kwake William Wadre, anao sasa tari ile Benjamin Zegede, ana complicate na kuwapika kula wao. Chana Mbuga uzuri, atacheza enda mwenyewe tu. Unagonga mshamba wa panya bado. Joseph Kuloba sasa wanaondosha
nguvu mpya. Edward yule Omondi aligeresha kama anaipiga pass pembeni. Onda akasema ndio kwa anapiga cross, lakini hata Brin naye pia alikuwa anajua umetoka mara ghafla tu.
Ndege mbalimbali na imetamatika kupitia mwamuzi wakati Josephine Wanjiku, ikiwa amepata alama 3 hizo baada ya safari ya zaidi ya kilomita 400. Alama 3 vijana wa Bandari kutoka uga wa Machakos, uga wa Kenyatta Machakos Masaku, wanaondoka na alama 3. Bandari wanatoka Kapa Sofapaka. Muda wote umekuwa na Michalson Nyango Mabululu, mwenzangu amekuwa ni Ali Salim. Hadi wakati mwingine, wacha dimba itambe.
And welcome back to Sports Check this Monday morning. Highlights of the action from the FKF Premier League over the weekend. And yes, one more weekend of action before we head to the international break. Kenya versus Cameroon over 2 legs. That is match day 3 and match day 4, part of what we're talking about. Continuing with this conversation, and it is about 2 wheels, and it is the Superbike, competitions. We've got the Super Series 3 happening, and we are now going to talk about the competition, how they do it, and the most important thing is safety, because you will see this, but safety is so critical. In the past, we've had Chef Edwin talking to us about the importance of this helmet here that they've got and why their gloves look like this. They've got all of these little metals. It's not so that if you try get him on the street, he can punch you with it and leave you with a scar, but it is to protect your fingers and your knuckles and all the gear that they have. And also the competition entries. Now joining us, a lady biker in the Superbike class, headed to race number 3 of the season, the Slick Racing Series. We've got Samia Almeida. Welcome, Samia.
Thank you very much.
And also we've got Lexus Musa, who's here with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
And let's go ladies first, Samia. And when people see you get onto a bike, you ride, and the next thing you take off the helmet and they say, "Hiya." Now,
it's a lady.
Hiya, msichana kona, madam kona hii pikipiki. What's the story of you getting into this, and how you've been able to grow as a competitive rider, not just an everyday rider?
Ever since I was young, motorcycles was always my love, my first love, and no one in my family is actually into motorsports, but I was very much the opposite of where I've grown up from. Yes, so I met my teammates, and they inspired me, and they told me that I can do it. I never knew I could do it, but they really motivated me, and they really helped me through this journey. But I've just always loved 2 wheels because it's just the adrenaline, the feeling, the thrill, the power, the control that you have.
Okay, no, I'm just just put it this way. Nobody in the family has got a love for motorsport. No. Not rallying, not anything, nothing.
Nothing. No history of motorsports in my family at all.
No going to KICC to watch cars flagged off?
Nope, nothing at all.
So, I mean, what was the bag that caught you? I mean, everyone would know about bicycles. That was common everywhere. But what about now having the engine to the 2 wheels?
I think for me it was it was for me to push beyond what I know. It was for me to just put myself out there and face my fears and do what I'm told I can't do. Yes. It was very...
Okay.
It's just been love for the sport.
Getting on to riding, what was your first experience? Not as a pillion, or either as a pillion passenger or as a rider?
My first experience as a pillion was very interesting because I rode on one of the bigger bikes as a pillion, and that's...
Kwa hivyo nilikuwa naongea ukweli hapa.
That was my first experience. And after that, we went into, I started watching all of them, how they do it. And I also went into it slowly. And my first experience as a biker, I think my first 2-3 rides, I toppled to the side a few times. No injuries because full gear. But yeah, I fell down and I got up and I fell down and I got up. And finally, I'm here, ready to race.
That's a little bit unconventional because what we know is that everyone tries it with the shorts, sandals, and everything. Musa, am I speaking the truth? I mean, for the dudes. How else do we get into biking?
Yeah, we all started from there. That was back in the days. But as time went by, then we got to learn. We have safety gears and all that. And you need to have them so that you can ride and you are safe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Getting the safety gear, well, just take us through that journey because you've said that you never got hurt because you got the safety gear first and then started riding. Unlike the rest of us who do the opposite. You ride,
and
get a few scratches, probably a broken limb, and then think about the safety gear.
So as I said, I came into it through my 2 friends. I have 2 friends who actually brought me into motorcycle riding. So they refused me to get on a bike until I had full gear. So I had to get all the gear. They gifted me a helmet, and then slowly I had to get my own gear, and that's when I actually started riding myself. Got my gloves, got my jacket, got my pants, my shoes. Yeah.
Well, you've got good friends. Lisa, did you have such friends? Or they went around?
I had to learn the hard way. I went to the road without the protective gears, but first I got hurt, and then I was like, need to do something.
Okay. Yeah. Now, Musa, one of the things that you do is to push the story of this sport. Number one is that everyone is invited.
Yes.
The same way we see everyone go to the Kasarani Super Special. When we've got the Safari Rally, everyone parks there at 11 a.m. You're told umechelewa. And the first car will be there at 3 hours later at 2 p.m. But give us, the story of trying to demystify the sport, that it fits, that it is accessible to everyone.
Yeah, it is accessible to everyone. We normally start at around 9. Definitely you have to buy a ticket. Kids which are below 12 years are free, so you can bring them all. By 9, the event normally starts. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll be getting into more details about how they push the story of this event and also making sure that they attract riders. And also we mentioned the whole factor of safety. We saw how Ed the chef was dressed. Simple t-shirt, no helmet. But the question is, you don't have to buy this expensive helmet that goes for, we'll be talking about what, $500? $300, $500?
Let's say probably almost $800.
$800 to buy this competitors' equipment, but the right one for safety, because if you're going to compete, then they're the first people who do that. It's something that's happening all across motorsport. We take a fast break now, and when we do come back, we'll continue with that. The race proper that happens on Sunday, the last 2 events, and also encouraging getting women into motorsports and safety on the road as an everyday rider.
Harambee Stars are set to face Cameroon in October before hosting the return leg in Kampala in mid-October. Catch the matches live on KBC Channel 1 as both teams chase slots for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Well, go on, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth way the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, yeah.
Alafu kila Tuesday, kata simu tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She said she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday with me, DJ_Liza Diva,
DJ Cold,
and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Unanifanya nisikie kunyongwa. Hadija ai, mani especially ukisonga.
Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. Stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. A look at your kidneys and how they impact your health. And an expert discusses chronic kidney disease and how to protect yourself. And Ivorian psychologist Noor Bakayoko shares some insights on bullying and what can be done.
It's important to avoid major events or major health crises.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
And yes, it is just 6 days to what we've got, the Slick Superbike Racing series. It's race number 3, Whistling Moranzi Nathi River. And we are talking about 2 wheels and very powerful 2 wheels. And it's all about Superbike racing. And we've had from a person who wants to be known as Edwin the Chef, and also from Ken Kaveke, who are 2 competitors. Ken Kaveke came in with his motorcycle, which we have displayed right here. And, you know, as we come to the end of this conversation, you will, if you didn't get to hear how powerful it is, the 1300cc engine, then you'll get to hear how loud it is. But right now, let's continue with this part of the conversation. Who are in studio with us? We've got Lexus Musa on my far left, and we've got Samia Almeida, who are competitors. And Samia and Ken, you know, let's start with you, Musa. You were talking about, you know, making the message reach out. On race day, there are those who are going to be there. But let's now talk about what, you know, happens behind the scenes preparing for a race day. Because like Edwin mentioned, you don't just ride in one day and say, I'm going to compete. How do you allow somebody to get into your, you know, series, the Slick Superbike series?
We normally have track days. You can choose to do from Monday to Sunday. The track is always open. But normally most of us, we practice on Sundays.
Let's talk about, you know, the track. Where is it located?
Whistling Moran at the river. Yes. If you check on the Google map, you'll get it.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's continue now. So track is open daily?
Yes, it's open daily. Anyone can walk in. You do your practice. But most of us, we normally do track days on Sundays. If we have new riders, we normally take them through the track. We tell them what to do, how to put their bikes in order and all that. Basically, we normally help each other. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to call you so that you can basically just, you know, use your hand and the helmet as to what should be done you know, how somebody should make a turn and all of this, you know, basic things. And for you, Samia, getting into, you know, you've given us a very interesting story. You've basically decided to shock everyone, family, and say you're going to ride.
Yes.
You start off riding, and eventually the bag for speeds hits you. So how has been your growth onto what you call street riding and now to circuit riding?
Actually started with circuit riding before I went to ride. Yes, I did the opposite of everybody else. Yeah, that's true. So I started mostly on the circuit, and it's been, as I said, I have the best team ever. They've always been behind me. Lex has been my coach for some time. I've had a few other coaches, and it's been great. You fall, you get up, and your bike crashes. Parts of your bike start falling apart, but these guys always come and bring it back together for me. They've always motivated me, like, you can do this. And I always felt like being short doesn't allow it, but the fastest bikers are short people.
Okay, we're going to find out about that. So let me just Google how tall Valentino Rossi is in that case, and find out if the dog is not that short. So Musa, you know, she speaks, you know, about you being one of the coaches, and so what are the things that you take everybody through when someone wants to get into this competitive riding? Because first of all, get your balance right.
Yes. First thing is safety. So you need to be fully geared so that once you hit the track, you are safe, and you also, the other riders are also safe. The next thing is getting your bike in check. You need to have probably racing tires, which are found locally. Yeah.
Okay. And like was mentioned, is that the racing tires are smooth. They look like they look like worn-out tires, something that would get you into trouble with a police officer.
Yes, but for racing, once you hit the track, let's say like 2 rounds, then the tires warm up and you have a maximum grip.
Okay, there you go. So let me come to you, Samia, and let's talk about, you know, for you, once you get into this competition, you definitely start with the lower powered, lower CC, 150 and the 250s. What's just been your, you know, your experience with the 150s and moving on to the 250s that you now ride?
It's scary sometimes because you're trying to push your bike to the limits, but also not push yourself off the limits, you know. So it's been scary, but it's also been very empowering. It's been amazing. Once you get on the track, everything just falls into place because you have people training you and telling you how to take a turn, how to take the bike forward, and how to stay in your limits, but also be able to be on top of everybody else.
So let's talk about staying within your limits. And because for most people, outside of what they see in competition or what they see in television, limits are being broken on the street every day. How do you learn that to do it on the track, do it safely, and, you know, not take that adrenaline onto the roads?
It comes with time. It comes with crashing. It comes with every time you're on the street and you want to cross the limit, something at the back of your head tells you there's somebody waiting for you back at home, you know. Mostly it's self-control. It comes from your inner self. But the bigger the bike you have, the more you want to push it. So it's all from yourself, mostly.
You mentioned about crashing, and this is one of the things that everybody, you know, tends to speak about, is how dangerous it can be. But with your safety gear, the helmet, you've got the protective overalls or the, you know, the 2-piece kit.
Yeah.
Your elbows are protected, your spine is protected, your knees are protected. We see that there is a way you tend to, we've seen them roll out. You know, it looks like you've flown off the bike and you let it move in one direction and in the other. What's the, how do you do that? And I would like you, Samia and Musa, to talk about that, because that's part of the safety of the sport.
Yes. So you asked about what happens when you crash.
When you crash and how you just get out of it.
Okay. So basically, when you're about to crash, you don't hold on to the bike. Because, you know, now you're almost down. You just let it go and you fall, but your gear really cushions you. It cushions you. So even if you crash and you fall down, you're still very safe. The maximum is tissue injury. Just some small tissue injury here and there, some aches and pains. After a week or two, you're good.
Okay. Now, I mean, you listen to her and, you know, some people get pinched and they'll be sick for a week. But how do you keep, you know, getting more women to compete such that you can have a full competition for women, Samia?
We are getting there. We need to motivate the ladies. The ladies need to know that we all can do this. It's not a male-dominated entirely, because we have other female riders. We have Joy and Katha. We have another lady called Ngina. They are also racers. They also come to the track, and I say if I can do it, everybody else out there can do it, because I'm super short and I have many restrictions, but I can do it, so you guys can do it too.
Okay. So she's going to be telling us about all of these restrictions. Why? I mean, she's insisted on being super short, and the restrictions that come with it.
Yeah.
But now, Musa, let's talk about, you know, making sure that, you know, the racers, you know, understand what's there and do not get very adventurous. I mean, there's the risk that we see with this and the speed that comes with it. How do you, you know, teach people all of this? And I'd ask you, you know, have the helmet, use it probably as how you approach. If it's a bend down the right or down the left, you can use a helmet as a pro.
Okay, when it comes to track racing, normally we have lanes which need to be followed. You get to learn when you come to track days and all that.
Continue.
So while approaching a corner, you have to go wild, and then you take the apex a bit in.
Okay, so you can just use the helmet so that people understand this is probably the apex or something, so you can do.
Let's say this is the corner. You need to come in like wide, and then this will be your apex. And then your exit will be a bit here, so that you are trying to straighten the corner. It becomes more straight rather than a corner. Yeah.
So that's where you've got, you know, the corners are different. There are those that are, you know, look like the U-turns. They are very sharp.
Yes.
So that's how you... So the apex is, for example, if I use this helmet, is this.
Yes.
So you try and maximize the V-shape.
Yes. To be a bit straight.
Now, the other one that, you know, once you do that, how do you then make sure that you balance and accelerate and take the next corner correctly?
You need to be aware of your bike. You need to know what it can do and what it cannot. Most of it, you have to come to the track so that you experience all that. It's something which can, because every rider has a different riding skill or model. Yeah.
So looking at you, Samia, what's the first thing that, you know, some of the lessons you picked from Musa, who you've identified here that he's been one of your coaches?
Musa is fearless. Musa has been fearless, and his riding skill is pushed to the limits again. He really does push beyond his limits, but he still comes out in one piece.
That is not what he's telling us.
But he does it. He does it because he's been riding for so many years, and he has been a champion last year. He might even take the championship this year. So Musa is very skilled, very, very skilled. He looks a bit humble, but he's not.
Yeah, they say the still waters run real deep. So Musa, you're on one of these?
Yes.
Yes, I ride S1000 BMW.
Okay, that's basically a piki that normally you would find with...
It's not a piki.
Kwa lugha ya Kiswahili. Okay, so what do you want me to call it?
It's a super bike. A sport bike.
A sport bike. But ideally, that is what you will find, you know, the kind of CC you'd find probably with the President's Escort. Now, let's talk about the first two races of the season, Musa.
Yes.
What have you seen from those who are there and, you know, the upcoming events before we head to race 3?
Normally, in a year, we have 4 races. We have round 1, round 2, round 3, and 4. We normally have a calendar which starts probably from February. And then the second heat, it comes May, July, somewhere there. We have the third one, which lies between October and September. And then the fourth one, which lies towards the end of the year, which normally is November, December.
Well, that's about 4 races in a year.
Yes.
The other, the most common motorcycle sport, motocross, they do almost once a month. What's the real story of trying to increase the number of races? Because that's then how most of the people get more experience.
We could, but you find probably racing is not cheap, so it's a bit costly, and also organizing the races. Yeah, so that's why we normally limit them to probably 4 or 5 events in a year.
So just tell us, basically the numbers that you've had in the 150s, the 250s, the 600s, and also the 1000s. And where, Ken mentioned that the 150 is crazy competitive.
Yeah, the 150, I think right now we have around 15 racers, 15 to 20 racers.
That's in the 150cc?
Yes.
The youngest being 14 years old.
From there, then we go to the 300. The 300, we have like 10 races. From there, we have the Supermoto. Supermoto, right now there are 4 of them.
That is the 600?
No, it's 450.
450?
Yes. And then from there, we have the 600. The 600, normally we have between 8 to 12 racers. And then from there we have the 1000cc, which we normally have also the similar number of racers.
What's not drawing a lot of people to the Supermoto, the 450, which is in between the 300 and the 600?
The Supermoto is more of a motocross, but now for the tarmac. Yes.
Oh, so it's more, that's the whole idea.
Yes.
So, all right, so getting these numbers, how then are you able to, do you have a cap as to the number of racers that you'd have on a track?
Normally we have, they are capped into groups, so that we have the safety feature on the track. Let's say, for example, the 150, we'll normally have like 8 racers in one heat. Yeah.
So that means if you've got about 15 or 20, I mean, you'd have 2?
Yes.
Around the first heat, you'd have 2 rounds of it?
Yes.
Now, timing. Just tell us how you go through that. Because this is whoever goes fast past the line, but if you've got 2 hits, then you would need to compare the 2.
We normally have marshals and with a stopwatch, and also we also have some gadgets on the track which time every racer. Once you cross that line, then they post your timing.
Okay, so just acha nikusumbue kidogo, a little bit of science. So do you have electronic timing or it is hand timing?
Electronic and hand.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I know, because hand, you'll see the bike leave and then the sound come later.
Yes.
So you leave that. So we can see we have a scientist here. Now, just tell us about how you're working as a sorority to make sure that there are more women into it and getting into this sport, such that you can actually have your own competition.
We're still working towards it. It's very hard to get ladies out of the shell, to tell them that you can do this. Because for me, also, it was quite hard. But we're working to it. We're looking to do some events that will encourage ladies to have, we're looking to have ladies track days where ladies just come and, get coached, trained how to use a bike on a track and how to race against your fellow riders,
He mentioned about safety marshals, and you are talking, off the camera, and you spoke about things that people must do on a racetrack. People and everyone must adhere to, otherwise you're going to get into big trouble.
Yes.
With the marshals and stewards. Just take us through 5 must-dos and things you must not do when you're racing.
Okay, so when you're racing is basically, when you are in a race, you have to be mindful of the person in front of you. It's just the same way as you in a car. When somebody's in front of you, don't try to run into them. When somebody's taking a corner, you can see that they're coming to overtake you. You try and defend yourself, but don't do it in a way that's going to cause harm to either of you. That's one of the things. The other thing is make sure your bike is in proper shape, like the stand is not hanging out, brake levers are working properly, the mirrors are not, too much on the side, your feet are on the pegs, you're not kicking it out to, kick your racer on the side. So those are some of the things you need to also watch out for.
Okay, so, and let's talk about Sunday's events.
Yes.
Have you closed for the entries or for the novices?
It's still open. You can buy your tickets on sosasa.shop.
Mistaki ya mashabik, I want for the competitor.
For the competitor,
mashabik wachana na sisi kwanza.
Actually, registration is closing tomorrow by, I think, midnight. It should be closed. Yeah.
All right. So there you have it. And with these rains, by the way, how do you manage the wet surface? In case it rains, how do you manage that? Very important.
We have wet tires, but normally they have not reached here.
Oh, you haven't come in with the wet tires?
Yes. No. We are just praying it won't rain.
But in a situation where it does rain, we have other techniques to dry up the track really quickly. Thankfully, Gusti Moran doesn't pour. So in case it does rain, we have other measures in line.
Quick clean floors. So what's the technique that you use?
It's actually a very interesting one. We just drift cars around the whole track, and because of the warmth from the cars, the heat from the cars, it quickly dries up the track.
Oh, very interesting.
It's DIY.
You do it yourself,
Yes.
drift the cars, send them, and let them do all the spray outs.
Yep.
Street safety, Musa. I told you, hiyo lazima tujue as we live, because this sport, actually, people see what, when we were watching wrestling, when we were kids, we were told, don't try these at home. Eventually it became in school or anywhere. What you do on the track, tell people about safety on the street.
On the streets, you have to be a law-abiding citizen. You have to follow the traffic rules. It's also a car, so you have to do what other cars are doing.
Stick to your own lane?
Yes. If it's a red light, you have to stop. Give way to the other motorists. Yeah.
Safety gear, passenger, rider.
You need to be fully geared. You don't dress for looks, you dress for the fall. Yeah.
Well, very powerful statement there. Don't dress for the looks, dress for the fall. Thank you very much, Lexus Musa and Samia Almeida. Amesema yeye ni mfupi, but I will not ask her to come and stand here next to the superbike. You know, if I decide to speak Swahili here, mashindano ya pikipiki zilizo na nguvu zaidi. That's closest they would accept. But thank you very much. And also Alia, Edu the chef, and Ken Kaveke, whose bike is here. So Ken, I know we'll be moving on to another sport around two wheels, and this is the cycling. And so as we get into this conversation, I know, Ken, you can, prepare to, just push off the bike. I won't let you, get onto the throttle and make it loud. But we are joined from Zurich by Kelvin Kimani, who's an elite cycling coach. And, Kenya is going to be hosting the Africa Cycling Championship. And this is going to be taking in the counties of Nandi, Uasin Gishu, and Elgeyo Marakwet in just a couple of weeks. A very good morning to you, Kelvin. Okay, we'll be getting to Kelvin Kimani, who's an elite cycling coach, and he's out in Zurich trying to make the case for Kenya as we host the Africa Cycling Championships. And the whole thing is this: you've got junior competitors who are going to be competing around an 11-kilometer course around Eldoret town, while the seniors will be starting in Eldoret, going through Uasin Gishu, Nandi, and eventually Elgeyo Marakwet counties, finishing in Iten. And that is for men and women. It's a competition, as Kelvin we tried to get his sound ready. We shall ask now, Ken, you can now come in. Give us the sound of this, as you know. You can now get it off the set so that people know the real Superbike as we leave. So it's been rolled away. And just one thing, Musa. Yes. On the street, the light must always be on a motorcycle.
Yeah, so that you are visible to other road users. You know, the bikes are quick.
Okay. Now, the other thing is strobing lights. I mean, it's a big challenge. I mean, even during the day.
You are not supposed to have that.
Unless you are authorized by law. Police officer.
Yes.
Okay. So that is part of the safety, you know, that we are talking about when it comes to biking. And the whole, as we get ready to get Kelvin, Samia, just give us a whole essence of your last 2 races. As you know, we are now mid-season, you've got 2 more to go.
They've been amazing. They've been really good. Our competitors have been doing really well. I aspire to get to the top eventually. And our female racers, we do have leading female racers, other ones as well. They're coming through, and it's been a tough journey, racing against people who are way more experienced, people who have been racing for years. It's, you get intimidated, but you have to forge forward. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So eventually, are you looking at creating a women's only category, or are we looking at what we see in ordinary motorsport? Everyone, let's all compete. It's even ground.
If we get enough racers, then we can have a women category. Yes.
Is there a women, I mean, always a women's trophy, like we see in motorsport?
Yes.
Or other motorsport?
Yes.
Okay. Beyond that, beyond the local scene, what are the opportunities for you racers? Outside of the country? For example, we see motocross, they compete with Uganda a lot. Uganda come here, they travel to Uganda. Then there is also the Central African Championships, Zimbabwe, I think Namibia getting involved. What are your opportunities?
We are working to probably do in international tracks and try to compete, see where our skill level are at. Yeah.
All right. So you can see it from Musa. He doesn't speak much, but like has been said, the moment he gets onto the seat, it's a whole different story. You know, like you said, it's easier done practically.
Yes.
Well, we've had it from Musa. Well, we'll be taking a quick break. Football highlights from the FKF Premier League. Then we get back to Kelvin Kimani, who's joining us from Zurich, as he makes the case for the Africa Cycling Championship that Kenya will be hosting in a couple of weeks.
Kutazwa mabingwa wa msimu mwaka United tena ligini. Kumbuka walishushwa daraja msimu juzi, lakini msimu uliopita wakamaliza nafasi ya 2 tofauti na alama 2 na aliyekuwa nambari 1. Wameweza kurudi tena ligini, lakini tangia kuweza kurudi wameweza kupoteza. Tangaza rasmi hapo juzi, huu ni uzi ambao tutautumia msimu huu, uzi ziwa linalounganisha mataifa matatu, Kenya, Uganda na Tanzania. Lakini Leonardo Neiva Martins upande wa pili kwa faida ya Mathare United alisha rasmi uzi tofauti kabisa. Upande wa pili Mathare United Slam Keys, mfumo wa 4-3-3. Hali itakuwaje? Kijani imetaradadi, mashabiki wanaendelea kujitokeza ikiwa ni mechi ya kwanza. Atakuwa anazikwa leo, lakini huyu ni mwalimu Leonardo Martins, mwalimu kwa faida ya Mathare United. John Kamau aliwanyima raha Gor Mahia mwaka 2012 mapambano na papo hapo. Assalamu alaikum, amani ya Bwana iwe juu yako popote pale ulipo. Karibu sana Masaku, karibu sana Machakos, karibu sana taifa la Kenya. Hii ni ligi kuu taifa la Kenya msimu wa 2023 au ameipiga ndani uzuri kichwa. Samuel Kapeni hapa ni vibe.
Alileta uzuri Enoch Morrison, akacheza kichwa Samuel Kapeni, kushoto nzuri ile, lakini akauparaza tu Samuel Kapeni, ukakosa.
Simon Otieno Mbish, Christopher Ochengo wakili. Samuel Kapeni jaribu kuipa. Samuel Kapeni, a boy from Rongai,
anamwaki kweli kweli. Aliandaliwa naye Christopher Ochieng kupiga kofi mpira ule. Samuel Kapeni ana jambo lake sana siku ya leo, ameweza kuaminiwa na mwalimu Leonardo Martins Neiva. Lingekuwa mojepe.
Sharif Musa Sirengo pembeni sasa, anaenda uzuri kwake Austin Rolls Royce. Austin anageresha. Austin! Yes! Rolls Royce! Ndio mwanzo ameanza msimu, lakini nani awezaye? Alishua kama anapiga, akafungua miguu pale pale alipo Michael Wanyika. Amezichuna ndevu zile zake Wanyika. Austin Odhiambo, what a daring player. Anawapa uongozi Kogalo. What pasi nzuri kwa Austin inapita. Hakimu Ingosi. Christopher amejaribu kupiga kwake Sharif Musa Sirengo. Sharif Musa Sirengo. Hata Vidic ameipenda. Walijaribu kuclear lakini wapi?
Alipiga Christopher Ochieng kwenda kumtafuta Sharif Musa, lakini mpira wake Sharif Musa
Austin Odhiambo imekula nguzo. What a miss! Sharif Musa Sirengo, yeye na nyavu, tikisa kichwa naye hamini.
Free kick nzuri yake double la Austin Odhiambo, ikala mtambao ule wa panya, lakini teknika aliyotumia Sharif Musa Sirengo alikosa utulivu tu, yeye akaamua kuondoa badala ya kufunga
au kumpa zidio. Musa anakuana na Sango, ameondoka Sharif Musa. Sharif Musa bado, Sharif Musa anawanua, unaguswa Alpha Kristo, ameokoa bana Michael Wanyika, amejinyumbua.
Kazi nzuri pembeni Sharif Musa Sirengo, akatafuta mpira wa pili ukamwangukia Alpha Kristo Nyango, akaupiga kofi tu ule mpira Alpha Kristo Nyango, lakini
kichwa kinakwenda kwake Zidion Bendeka. Simiti Musa Masika. Austin bado, Austin inakataa. Simiti Geoffrey Cheng Simiti anasema hii ni Matthew akipata huduma ya kwanza.
Ndio build up ya goli la tatu ilianzia kwake Gad Matthews Otieno, akashinda mpira wa kwanza. Gidio Mololia Bendeka akatamba nao katika eneo la 18. Austin Odhiambo akaupangua kipa Michael Wanyika, lakini ukaishia kwenye guu lake Geoffrey Cheng Simiti. Alifanya kazi kubwa kujiweka,
hajapata tabu sana. Onyango Mangolo, Gideon Bendeka, Gideon anasema naitwa Zidion Bendeka Mololia Mopao, amejitangaza Kongo tu Nairobi, Lubumbashi. Nyoro manager ya timu ameipenda, ilitoka nyuma Joshua Onyango Mangulu akaikosa. Asango yeye, yani huku unakosa rumba anakufunga Mkongomani. Asango aliruka akaukosa. Bendeka Zidion Mololia Mopao. 90 zimekatika. na zile 5 za ziada. Hakuna cha kusubiri, bali ni kumaliza pambano la siku ya leo. Mchezo mzuri, magoli mazuri. Michael Wanyika amejaribu lakini ameruhusu magoli 4 siku ya leo. Amecheza na mabingwa, ulitaraji mwimba zaidi. Kutoka Machakos imetamatika Gor Mahia akiwa na magoli 4, Mathare akiwa na nunge. Umekuwa na Chaso Nyango Mabululu. Mimi ni Bekeza kupitika Ali Salim. Till next time, go.
And yeah, Gor Mahia getting their season going with a 4-0 win against Mathare United. 3 matches they haven't played as they got into match day 4. So there's still a lot of catch-up for them, but that's a sign of what's lined up for them in the FKF Premier League. And remember that we'll be keeping you updated on that league as it continues. But right now, we stick with 2 wheels. And this time around, we move on to cycling. Kenya will be hosting the continent. 20 nations expected, including Girma, who was the first African to win a stage of the Tour de France. And Calvin Kimani, who's an elite cycling coach, we expect to be we're trying to get through to him for the past few minutes. Brian Rose, can we now go on with Calvin? Okay, so thank you. All right, so thank you very much. Rose just giving us an apology. We'll try to get Calvin eventually so that he can tell us this story about how they're preparing for this elite cycling championship that's going to take place from the 9th to the 13th of October. Yes, in Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi and Uasin Gishu. So from Zurich, Calvin, a very good morning to you.
Hello and good morning back in Kenya. First of all, I have to apologize. The network connectivity seems to be a challenge. We think these guys are a first-class country, like I guess our Safaricom can function much better, and I'm not being paid by Safaricom to do that much. So, good morning to you.
All right, thank you. Anyway, so when it comes to the internet, Wi-Fi and all of that, we're here. But let's get straight into this. Africa hosting the continent, and you out there, trying to make this pitch to have more people competing. What has been the journey of getting the Africa Road Cycling Championship come and take place in Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi, and Uasin Gishu counties?
Well, I must say the journey has been treacherous. It's been years of labor, years of lobbying, and months of work that we've put in with a whole team that has been able to get us where we are right now, to be able to be at this stage that we've been given rights and we've been given support from all parties to be able to host these continental events. And I can tell you for a fact, as Kenya, we are the first nation in the East African countries, the 10 East African countries, and in the Zone 5 region, from Egypt going all the way down, we are the second country, apart from Egypt, to be able to host it. So you can imagine this is such an achievement for Kenya, and it's a great feat for cycling in Kenya also, and the region.
Well, over the 4 days, one of the things that has happened is that we are expecting junior riders. And for the youngsters, this is very important. It's roughly about 11.3 kilometers around Eldoret City. What are the kind of bicycles that you would want the youngsters to bring in and compete with in Eldoret City?
Oh, well, first of all, I must say it is 5 days. It is from the 9th up to the 13th. And in terms of the equipment with the 11.5, this is a circuit going round into Eldoret, and we've chosen the best of the roads. We've chosen sceneries that are going to be captivating to be able to showcase the beauty that we have in Kenya and also the beauty that we have as a county. And we've also been able to choose routes that we think are safe, first of all. And to go to your question, when it comes to equipment, we would like for them to bring the best of the equipment, because we are talking about competing with the best of athletes in Africa. And if you've been following cycling, you can see the trajectory that cycling in Africa is taking. And we are now being watched very closely with the elite teams in Africa. They're trying to poach the best of our talents here. And more to them poaching, we do have some of our talents that are in Europe. And so if you're talking about competing with the best of each country, you need to have the best of equipment. We have a challenge in that, but we are working around the clock to be able to resolve it with the equipment issues.
Just to give us, some regulations as to what will be required for the elite cyclists, because this is where the focus will be. And, traversing 3 counties, starting in Eldoret, doing a full tour of the other counties and finishing in Iten. What's the focus on the elite cyclists, and how, the conditions for entry for you?
I must say, when you say that elite will be the focus, yeah, sure, because some of the names are out there and they're known, so you would like to follow the people you know. But the focus, I would say, on my part and what we are working as a federation is on every category. For all the under 23, for the juniors and all the elite. All these have a category that we term it like it's a final, that you can compare it to any final race. And the efforts that we are putting in all of them, both men and women, is to be able to come out on top. And for you to be entered into this race, we did a selection through the Jubilee race that happened yesterday. We've taken some of it, and also we are taking into consideration the performances of an athlete that they've had throughout the year. So, and this is purely on merit basis. Thank you.
Okay, you've mentioned about the scenery. Just give us, a whole idea as to where everyone can watch this. I'll call it the Giro, the Kenya Giro, especially for the elites, those who start in Uasin Gishu County, going through Nandi and finishing in Elgeyo Marakwet. Key points for the spectators.
I must say, this is not the Kenya Giro. This is the Africa Giro. And also you can equate it to, because it's going to be bigger than that. And we expect a whole load of fans on the road. We are doing a lot of campaign to be able to get this information out there. We are going to start off in Kapsabet on day one. We're going to have an event like equivalent of the WRC, the shakedown, where we're going to have everybody that is going to be on the bike. We expect to have our Honorable Cabinet Secretary to be there. We expect our Principal Secretary to be there. They're also going to compete. And all the CECs for the 3 counties, the CECs in charge of the sports. And we also expect the governors for all these 3 counties to be there. And of course, the executives from the Federation and all the parties, all our partners that we partnered with. From there, the race will now begin. We'll have the days that we'll have in Eldoret, that we're going to have the time trial races there. And then when it comes to road races, for both men and women, they begin in Uasin Gishu, right outside the county headquarters, and it goes all the way to Iten, and then it takes a loop also for the men and women, and the finish is going to be there. And part of the reason we chose these 3 counties, the scenery, and they are referred to like they have a green belt, and also the fact that we have the source of champions here, we have the home of champions here, and we think the mere fact that even most of the elite athletes in Europe, some of them do come to train here, and as a Kenya Cycling Federation, we have our training camp based here also in Iten. So this is where you can capture the best of the altitude, the best kind of environment for you to practice and perform at the top level. And the sceneries, you'll have the tea plantations being shown, you'll have all the farms that are next to it, and all the hills and all the mountains. And we also have, we've showcased a route that you're going to have like waterfalls. And all these, you're going to have courtesy of Citizen is going to be live. I don't know if I should say that, but yeah, KBC also. I know we are going to be live with you, and also we have international in Europe, and we also have the Super Sports. They're going to showcase these races, all of them live.
All right. Thank you very much, Kelvin Kimani. Hope to see you once you're back from Zurich later in the week. Would like to see all that and speak to the Kenyan competitors put that in mind, because Africa hosting the Africa Cycling Championship, this is huge. We just can't be doing 4 wheels, but it's good that we've got the 2 wheels championship. So have the best in Zurich and tell them we've got very good internet on this side, and they should make sure that next time, it's stable enough for us to have a bigger conversation, because we've only touched the surface of it. Thank you very much. Calvin Kimani is an elite cycling coach and putting Kenya's case for the Africa Cycling Championship, the Africa Giro, that's coming in next month. That is now our time for us to now live. So, Lucy Mora has been our sign language interpreter. We'll leave you at this point. Thank you for being with us. And coming up next will be Kurunzi Mashinani, and later Tamrini, our Swahili interview program. Have a good day. My name is Daniel Wahome.
African nation of Kenya is known to the rest of the world for its unique geographical position. It is part of the Great Rift Valley, which is considered as the cradle of man. Its diverse peoples, rich flora and fauna make it a destination of choice for ecotourism enthusiasts. Turkana County, located in northern Kenya, is a microcosm of the country. It is rich in cultural heritage, natural resources, and unique landscapes. Known for its vast arid landscapes, Turkana County is home to the Turkana people. Its 926,976 strong population makes it one of Kenya's major ethnic groups. The Turkana have lived in this region for centuries, adapting to its challenging environment. The people have offered their name to a remarkable natural wonder with which nature has so generously blessed them. Lake Turkana is the largest desert lake in the world. The 7,560 kilometer square lake